Hey folks, and welcome to another edition of Minister's Bullet. I want to continue to look at some verses in Second Corinthians with you. We're going to stick with the first chapter and move just a few verses ahead. And I want to talk about one of the biggest myths about God, even in the church. And this verse dispels that myth, and that's what I want to talk about. Let's look at verse 8. Um, Paul wrote, "For we do not want you to be unaware, brothers, of the affliction we experienced in Asia." He was in prison. "For we were so utterly burdened beyond our strength that we despaired of life itself." And he goes on, "Indeed, we felt we had received the sentence of death, but that was to make us rely not on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead." If there was ever a question as to whether God will allow us to be in a situation or to experience a difficult time in our life that we are not capable of handling, the proof is right here. Paul experienced just that very scenario. It says he was burdened beyond his own strength. He couldn't handle it anymore. He thought he was going to die. And the only way he got through was on relying on God. Um, God will most definitely allow us in our lives to go through difficult times where our faith is tested, our strength is tested, our resolve is tested. We will be pushed, we will be broken. We will be broken. And this is to teach us not to rely on ourselves to get us through these situations, but to look to God, to rely on His promises in His Word. Um, there's lessons in everything we go through. I talked about that a little bit yesterday. Our hardships, our trials, our tribulations, there's something to be learned from them. And a, one major lesson is that we can't do it ourselves. Um, if we try to do it ourselves, we will fail. Um, we have to look to Christ, look to God. Um, it's oftentimes it's when we're really broken and really just have no clue how we're going to get through something, how we can handle it. I've experienced this in grief when I've lost someone that's really close to me. A major part of they were a major part of my life, and I was depressed. I was in a dark place, and I didn't know how I was going to bounce back. But what got me through was God, His promises, knowing that He was there with me, that He was going to see me through it, that He was um, that He was going to comfort me, and He did, and He did. He got me through it. He's faithful. His promises are true. They're sure. But yes, definitely at some point in your life, um, we're all going to face something, some trial, tribulation, a dark period of our life where our strength, we are going to be pushed beyond what we are capable of handling. This is a reality of being a Christian, of walking with God, of sanctification, of being tested in this life in preparation for who we need to be to minister to others and who we're going to need to be in heaven. Um, yeah, I'm glad this verse came up in our study. Um, I I think it's a big myth that exists in the church, and you know what? I think I know where people get it from. Um, there's a verse in First Corinthians that talks about God will not allow you to be tempted beyond your ability. That there's always a wear out, always a way out, and that's true. Um, sin is we're never overwhelmed by temptation. There's always we don't have to sin. We can always get out of it. We can also always say no. Um, and I think people take that lesson there and think it applies to hardship and trials and tribulations and some of the dark times that we go through in life. and assume because God will not allow us to be overwhelmed with sin, that He will not allow us our strength and our might to be overwhelmed in some of the dark times in our life, and that's just false. Um, like I said, he will allow that to happen to you, and that is so you won't rely on yourself, but you will rely on Him to get you through. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and join and follow us on these platforms.